I want to address, what's going on with AT. It's absolutely unacceptable. There's been so much more toxicity, racism, homophobia. It is absolutely unacceptable. Most of this coming from the online community. Most of this, in my heart of hearts, I believe, not coming from WNBA fans. I believe that this is people who are using our league, using our players to further divisive agendas. And if you are one of these people that are online doing this, do not call yourself a WNBA fan. Our league is about inclusiveness. Our league is about competition. Our league is about elevating women, elevating marginalized communities, including and being inclusive of all different walks of life. That is what our league has always been about.
It's also why your league has always been a huge embarrassing failure. It's also why your league has always been rejected by most of America. That was Indiana Clark's head coach Stephanie White discussing the brutal, vicious attack on Caitlin Clark by Al Thomas. Now, as you just saw, instead of Steph White coming to the defense of her only star player, hell, the only star player in the history of this dump of a league, Uncle Casey, that's not true. What about Angel Reese? What about Paige Buckner? The WNBA is no longer reliant on Caitlin Clark. This league is filled with huge stars. Oh, yeah? Believe it or not, yesterday, or maybe it was Wednesday, make-believe basketball was one of the questions on Jeopardy. Now, this was not Celebrity Jeopardy, where a trio of dorks combined their collective brain cell to figure out the identity of one of the Kardashians. This was real Jeopardy, featuring smart people. They showed a picture of Paige Beckers, who the media claims is one of the faces of the WNBA. The same Paige Beckers who can't fill a 7,000-seat pavilion with tickets selling for less than 10 Ethiopian breadcrumbs. They show a picture of Paige Beckers without her partner Elmer Fudd, which might be why the contestants on Jeopardy had such a hard time figuring out who in the hell she was. But listen to their response, and notice I did not say responses. Watch for yourself.
This UConn star had an intense spring in 2025, being picked first in the WNBA draft. Rahul.
Who is Caitlin Clark?
No. Scott or Sarah? That's Paige Beckers.
Not only do the smart people on Jeopardy have no idea who in the hell Paige Beckers is, outside of Caitlin Clark, they can't name another player in the WNBA dump. Which is why I'm struggling to understand why her own head coach refuses to come to her defense. Instead of defending the Great White Hope, Steph White is delivering a passionate sermon on mythical racism and homophobia. She is demonizing the Caitlin Clark fan base, or as Steph White called them, WNBA fans. Steph White is essentially complaining about Al Thomas and other unknowns in the WNBA dealing with criticism on social media, or as Angel Reese would call it, dealing with those haters. Let's take a second to think of some logical reasons as to why unknown WNBA players would be hated by America. Let's think of some logical reasons as to why the WNBA has a 30-year history of huge embarrassing failure. Well, the WNBA is a communist league. For the better part of 3 decades, this toxic turd failed to generate a single peso in profit. They were, and still are, heavily subsidized by the NBA. If you include the money from their television deal, the NBA is donating hundreds of millions of dollars every year to the WNBA charity. Meanwhile, the vast majority of players in this league can't draw flies to a fresh turd. They are financially worthless. The WNBA has always prided itself in being an activist league. They focus on activism over basketball. If you don't believe me, watch 5 minutes of a pretend basketball game. Won't take you very long to figure out that most of the players aren't practicing in their free time. They are far too busy flying rainbow flags at the Gay Pride Parade. The rampant entitlement, the constant lecturing of the fan base. Some players in the WNBA, they seem to have a severe dislike of America, and the product on the court, it is the equivalent of a flaming ass fire. So I wonder why America has rejected the WNBA. But according to Steph White, it's the mythical racism. It's the homophobia. Our fans are afraid of lesbians. Our fans are afraid of Bob Greiner and her husband, Ray Gay. Why in the hell would anyone be afraid of Bob Greiner? As long as you don't have a bag of grass in your pocket, Bob Greiner is harmless. All kidding aside, this has always been one of the main problems in the WNBA. According to Caitlin Clark fans, Steph White, one of the worst coaches, if not the worst coach in pretend basketball. She single-handedly destroyed a once winning program at Vanderbilt. From the outside looking in, the Indiana Clarks seem to be falling apart. The team seems to be divided. Rotations are questionable. Some players on the team, mainly Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham, they don't seem to respect their head coach. From a business perspective, they're the only players that matter because they are the only players people are willing to pay to see. The point is, Steph White has a shitload of problems that she could be focusing on. And what is she focused on instead? She's focused on mythical racism, and she's pretending that people are afraid of Ray Gay. Like I said, this has always been one of the main problems in the WNBA. There is no accountability. This league always blames everyone else for their problems, which is why the product on the court never improves. I want you to think about something. When is the last time you heard anyone in the mainstream talking about pretend basketball? I'm not talking about my colleagues here on YouTube. I know a lot of creators watch every game with the Indiana Clarks. I know they live stream during the pretend basketball game. They break down plays. They explain what happens when Caitlin Clark makes a beautiful pass only for one of her unknown teammates to miss the layup or fumble the miniature ball into the empty chairs in the front row. That's great for them. That's how they make their living, their money. But as you guys know, Uncle KC refuses to waste his valuable time watching this toxic turd. Clearly, I am not alone. How often do you see pretend basketball as the topic of conversation in the mainstream media? First Take, other shows on ESPN or FS1. How often do you hear Colin Cowherd talking about the on-court product in the WNBA? This league only makes headlines for what happens off the court. They only make headlines when something controversial happens with Caitlin Clark. And look, that's okay. In the business of television, you do whatever it takes to generate interest to your product. In the short term, it can be a great strategy. Problem is, it's not sustainable long term. And one of the reasons it's not sustainable is because most of the controversy that's generating interest involves Caitlin Clark being physically assaulted, and her body seems to be breaking down. You know, earlier this week, Fox News, they spoke with a former doctor who used to work with the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, this is not some doofus WNBA doctor who is healing work injuries in pretend basketball or the WWE. This doctor was working with real basketball players. Basically, he warned the WNBA that Caitlin Clark is taking too much physical contact. Between Al Thomas punching her throat, getting poked in the eye, the constant hits to the face, jealous, aggressive players putting their foot in her landing space when Caitlin Clark is attempting a three-point shot. According to Fox News, there have been 13 instances of controversial contact with Caitlin Clark since her rookie year in 2024. Now, you got to remember, she missed most of last season with an injury. We're only, 2 months into this season? And Caitlin Clark is sidelined with the same back injury again. Which means these 13 instances, they have mostly taken place in less than 2 years. I am no doctor, but I'm pretty sure your health does not improve with age, especially something as serious as back problems. That usually doesn't get better as you get older. And what is her head coach focused on? Instead of lecturing the rest of the league, instead of demanding that the WNBA take better care of its most valuable asset, Steph White wants to lecture Caitlin Clark fans on mythical racism and the importance of inclusivity. This league just doesn't get it. Right now, the WNBA is in the midst of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Ironically enough, I was given a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity 5 years ago. June of 2021, I could feel my channel gaining traction, momentum. Problem was, I was wasting 45, 50 hours a week at a job that I hated. You guys know the story by now. I quit my job, took advantage of my opportunity. But in the last 5 years, I have done everything in my power to protect this channel. I'm sure you've noticed I have never posted shorts on this channel. You want to know why? Because most people who watch shorts, they don't watch long-form content. The audiences are different. And to me, it's just not worth the risk of me tanking my channel with subscribers who don't want to watch my long-form videos, which is why I put shorts on TikTok or Facebook, and soon I'll be starting a third YouTube channel specifically for YouTube Shorts. The point is, I protect my baby. Outside of internet problems, nothing disrupts my upload schedule. So I'm struggling to understand why the WNBA doesn't have the same mindset, the same mentality. You've got one star. You have one valuable player. The WNBA can claim all they want. AJ Wilson is the most valuable player. They can give her the award. They can promote her as the face of the league, but no one else believes it. You could poll people at the Wilson family reunion, and they wouldn't believe that Asia Wilson is the face of the league. For 3 years, the WNBA has allowed jealous players to unleash their rage towards Caitlin Clark. And for the most part, Kat Engelbert hasn't done a damn thing about it. Her own head coach barely defends her. There is a reason I refer to Caitlin Clark as the Great White Hope, and it has very little to do with her race. The reason I refer to Caitlin Clark as the Great White Hope, it's because Caitlin Clark is the WNBA's only hope. And for some reason, the league refuses to acknowledge it. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys tomorrow.